Hello everyone. I don't really know what to say. I'm so glad to be here. I've been looking forward to it for such a long time, and when I got here, I was a little bit more nervous than I thought I would be. I met Bon, who is a woman from Iraq, and I am still having trouble looking her in the eyes because of the guilt that I have here. So it's kind of more difficult for me than I thought, but I hope that she can forgive me. I'm going to start off telling you all how I enlisted. It's the pretty normal story, lower middle class, didn't have money for college, abusive family, wanted to get out, and I'll spit on the microphone. But, I had grown up, and it was, I had this big military family, and we had American flags, and I was a cadet from the time I was like 12 up to the time I enlisted. And when I was enlisted, I was actually an ROTC cadet at Niagara University in Niagara Falls. But, I got into all these other universities and didn't have the money to pay. And, one of my friends, Matt, said, "You know what, Robin? We're enlisted." And I said, "You know what? That's a good idea." And he said, "I'm enlisting in the reserves." And I go, "You know what? That's a good idea." But before that, I had said I would never serve under George Bush, but I never thought he would have gotten reelected, and I damn well didn't know. After I talked to that nice, honest recruiter that told me my reserve unit had just gone, and told me that college would be my priority, that right after I finished training, I would go to Iraq. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Do not see your family. Gone for 22 months. I enlisted when I was 18, October 23rd, 2003. I'll never forget it. One of the problems that I see quite clearly is, these people have this really nationalist view that America is awesome, that we're the best, and if you ask any of them, "Where else have you lived?" they say nowhere. But we're the best. That's all they know. And a couple years ago, I was giving a speech at the Veterans for Peace conference, and it was a lecture on Afghanistan. And one of the men was talking about how America has this idea that we're liberating the Afghan women, but considering my experience in the military, that 1 in 3 women in our service are raped, I don't see the United States Army as a big feminist fighting force. It's just, it's not, But I'm more serious now. And, I really want you young people to listen to this. And I know it's really funny, and one of the people here said, "Oh, you're Robin? I expected you to be older." But I want you to listen to this in case you're even considering joining the military. When I enlisted, I was a civil affairs specialist. And that honest recruiter told me that my job would be helping to repair infrastructure, to do assessments on clinics and hospitals, and to help rebuild a country. And I said, "That's awesome, I want to do that." In my second day in country, I was the machine gunner for my team. And I became a horrible person for a while. And I succumbed to that culture of violence. And I was even more macho than some people because I had to survive in that culture with men when I was the only woman with the infantry. You know, I had people that would ask me if I knew how to use my weapons. You know, I had 3 of them. And I just looked at this jerk and said, no, they put me here because I'm pretty, don't worry about it. There are things that happen that no one should ever have to live through. The worst thing about my experience is not the things that happened to me, but the things that I did. Because I lost my own humanity. There is no way, there is no job in the military where you will be able to keep yourself. I've seen chaplains carry guns. I've seen people do horrible things in the name of their country. Men throwing chunks of ice at kids. Throwing a piece of candy to 5 kids to see if they would fight over it. Just horrible people in a horrible situation that were scared and taking out their frustrations on a people that couldn't fight back against them. And the thing is, the whole time I was there, I never realized it. As a matter of fact, I'm a rarity because I had feelings at all. Oh, excuse me. I remember being on a convoy escorting Christian Amanpour from CNN, and there I was, a 19-year-old girl on top of a Humvee with a big gun, and I was so menacing. And I came back from this mission. I was being escorted by tanks, and I started to take sniper fire, and it sounded like a zipper to me. And all that was going through my head at that time was, I have to find this person before they get someone else on my team. I have to protect them. Not, I'm going to die. It was, I have to save someone else, because that was what I wanted to do. So instead of opening fire with this weapon I had, I pulled up my main rifle, which had a scope, and I tried to look for this person that was trying to kill me. And I was surrounded by buildings everywhere, and I couldn't see anything. And there was this major who'd never left, who'd never been on missions, who was scared, and he was saying, "Murray, are we getting shot at?" I said, "Roger, sir, I'm being shot at." And he said, "Why aren't you firing back?" I said, "Because I don't have a PID and I'm not going to kill civilians." Unfortunately, there are stories where people weren't as human as me. You know, and it affects everyone's life. You know, my niece will ask my sister, "How come Aunt Robyn is so sad?" You know, and I came home and I crawled into my mother's couch, and I don't think I left for about 2 years. I watched TV. I did anything to keep the memories of what I'd seen and done out of my head. I tried to commit suicide once. Which is funny because I went to the army doctor and told him what I had been feeling, and he said I didn't have PTSD. And he fell asleep during our session. And I tried to take sleeping pills and drown myself in the bathtub. But when I felt my head slipping under the water, I felt that there was something else for me to do. There's some reason why I'm here. There's some reason why I survived. Because there's so many times where I was around such horrible things. And for some reason, God chose to save me. So now, I work with veterans. I'm a board member of Iraq Veterans Against the War. I've been doing that for 3 years now. Waging peace, working with Veterans for Peace. One of the ways I started to heal was by talking to other veterans. I had a weekend that changed my life. One day I was waiting for the VA. I had to wait 3 hours for an appointment. And during that time I wrote a poem called I'll Carry That For You. I'll read it later for anyone who wants it. But I wrote this poem out of frustration and anger. And you know, I showed it to my grandmother and I showed it to my mother, and they said, that's great, you have to do something with it. So I emailed it to the National Office of Iraq Veterans Against the War, and they put it in their newsletter. And then weeks later, I got a call from a wonderful woman, Lavella Kalika. She organizes warrior writers, and she said, would you like to come to Martha's Vineyard for a writing retreat?
Oh, wow.
And I said, sure. Okay. I was there for 10 days. And let me tell you, if I had never found them, I would have never found me again, and I probably wouldn't be alive. And that's the truth. But now, I'm blessed with this amazing ability to inspire other people and change. And I'm very thankful for that. And I really hope that with the film that's coming out, the only thing I want is for people to know what happens to us when we get home and what happens during war. And to simply put it, this affects both sides. War leaves scars. Intense. But doing the right thing has changed my life dramatically. You know, I was such a wreck. I wanted to die. You know, I got hurt in the military and I hurt my hip, and they kept giving me drugs and drugs and drugs and drugs and more drugs. Bottles of them. And then they wondered how I became a drug addict. It's true. I just got out of rehab and came here. I put myself there. I didn't want to live like that anymore. But this is what I'm supposed to be doing. That's it.